I'm Trent, and this is Vision Preparedness. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. And welcome. I have an amazing panel. Some of my favorite peeps out there in the YouTube streets. And I was able to corral all of them together tonight to talk to everybody about having a home defense plan. So first of all, and we can start, whoever wants to go first, introduce yourself, tell a little bit about your channel, and we'll get started.
Oh, I got volunteered.
You got voluntold.
I am the Roaming Prepper, aka Pete, and I'm on the Roaming Prepper channel. I started it because I was traveling everywhere. A lot of my videos and the ones in the future will have a lot to do with being prepared while you're on the road. You consider how much time we spend traveling away from home. If something happens, it's a good chance you're going to be in a car or a train or a plane when it happens. Also discuss other things from geopolitics to business. So that's pretty much what I'm about.
All right. Welcome. Thank you, Roaming Prepper. Next, we'll let the lady go and introduce my ride and die right there.
Hi, everyone. How you doing tonight? My name is Tarsha. I am a certified USCCA firearm instructor. I have a degree in criminal justice. I was a probation officer, along with transition and aftercare probationers coming out of parolee. Both of those, I was dealing with mental health probation and parolees. I worked with the Department of Family and Children's Services and running a family business as well. And then I started my business back in 2021 when I decided, when I became disabled, I felt a bit vulnerable. So I decided to bump my security skills to another level and to provide protection for women as well. So my main focus is on women, but I do train men as well. And I train in basic firearm skills, home defense, and concealed carry. And I teach a basic course for women for self-defense as well, mainly focus on women and what women can do to protect themselves. And I touch on situational awareness, conflict avoidance. I'm certified in first aid, CPR, stop the bleed. So we discuss those issues as well. Well, those preventive measures as well during my courses. So that sums it up for me.
Triple threat firearms and defense. Whew, I'm ready to go. Oh, I already got it right here, just to make sure. And last but not least, my man up there in New Yorkistan.
What's happening, everybody? I'm Mike from Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. I'm into prepping and survival. I'm just an average guy. I started a YouTube channel because it was kind of my thing. And I was inspired by NY Prepper. He and I had actually met, and he encouraged me to start a channel. He said, you know, you're kind of already doing all this stuff, man. All you got to do is take a video and put it up. So I started my channel, and these are kind of the adventures of Hudson Valley prepping and survival.
So first of all, these folks here that are on this panel, I learn something from them every day. There's not a day that goes by that I don't learn something from them, or I get a text from somebody or something. So, you know, folks, this is what it's all about. We're family. This is community. And we're all here to share our knowledge and learn, because we all don't know everything. But tonight we want to talk about a home defense plan, whether you have a house, an apartment, live with somebody, live in mom's basement, live in dad's garage, you have to have a home defense plan, especially now, even more so now, because the way of the world and what's going on in the world, it's pretty volatile. And at any moment, we could be in an SHTF event and go from there. So the first thing, our first discussion topic we want to talk about is firearms. Let's talk about weapons. Secure the house first. And if you happen to live somewhere where you don't have firearms, or if you just don't have them, you know, we're going to talk about some of the things that you can use or have to defend yourself in case you do have an intruder. And with that, I'm going to open it up to the panel to talk about what would you use, or what do you use to defend yourself? And they're quiet. Anybody?
I volunteer, Mike.
Okay.
All
there
right.
you go.
All right. So, let's see. First and foremost, these hands, bro. These hands. You will catch these hands. I will swing off on you, hands down. That's, you know, if it's up close and personal. If there's a threat coming at me, I want to try to avoid it as much as possible. You know, I want to avoid altercation at all cost. So I'm looking, especially here in New York. In New York, we have a duty to retreat law. So I have to retreat until I'm cornered before I can fight back. And when I fight back, I can only legally match the level of force being brought against me. So if I bring a gun to a knife fight, I'm probably still going to go to jail, or I'm going to spend, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to keep myself out of jail with lawyers and legal fees. So I'm always looking to avoid that confrontation first and foremost. But I do have a concealed carry permit, so I carry everywhere I go for the most part. And I've always got a knife on me, so I always keep multiple means of defense, but I'm always looking to avoid that situation first and foremost.
Right. Exactly. And especially, folks, make sure you check your state laws about having firearms. And I completely recommend, if you can get your conceal and carry, get it. And learn how to use the weapon and carry. First and foremost, you got to get training, and we'll talk more about that. So, Tarsha, what about you? What would you recommend? What do you see? What do you, not necessarily what you use or have, but
well, my state, we don't have a duty. We don't have to retreat. There's no duty to retreat. So, first off, I'm gonna have all the preventive measures to keep someone from coming into my home, and systems to alert me that someone is on my property. And that gives me enough time to try to scare them off, possibly by calling the police, the alarms going off, whatever I can do. But when it comes to me being a single female, I'm not going in with hands. I'm not going in with knives. I'm going in with my shotgun. I'm going in with an AR-15 and a handgun. Whatever I have to have when it comes to a firearm, I'm going to use it, because it's me and my 4 kids that live in that house. And I just refuse to be taken out by someone who's coming onto my house to do damage to me and my kids, to do harm to me and my kids. So it's I know a lot of people say try not to use the weapon, but if you're in my house with me and my kids, at that point, I'm no hold bars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Roaming, what do you got to
Oh,
say?
shoot. So I'm going to go back to my childhood and teenage years since I used to
Uh-oh.
get into mischief. My dad decided it was great for me to stick me in a dojo, and he said, "You want to be stupid, they'll beat you up there." One thing I did learn after 17 years, yeah, he got me in as a little kid, and then 17 years later, I finally stopped. Um, Transition fighting. And then I'll explain that because in Texas, unlike Mike's situation where you can't do greater force, in Texas, I can use reasonable force to prevent harm to me. I don't have to retreat per se, but I have to, they'll challenge me in a grand jury if I fire a weapon and say, well, why didn't you retreat? So the assumption is I'm going to have to try and avoid the first thing, avoid it. But if you can't, then you enter a realm of transitional fighting, which is basically
Mm-hmm.
you could wind up going from hands to knife to firearm or back. And that's something a lot of folks don't think of. Like they'll say, oh, I have a firearm. At least one occasion where I actually drew on someone, he was on top of me from the
Ooh.
side out of a crowd before I realized the
Mhm.
threat. So I went
Right.
hands until I created distance and then I transitioned. So as far as, I hear the glass breaking in the night, unless it's right on top of me, obviously I got the flashlight and the sidearm, right? And there are only two of us in the house other than the dogs. And
Mm-hmm.
it's an open floor concept. I got a clear line of sight from the master bedroom to both doors. So
Okay.
then it becomes a question of house clearing. When I had my kids at home and we
Mm-hmm.
had a two-story, that was more of a challenge. I got to
Yeah.
be judicious what I pull the trigger on. And hence being able to go from I'm going to use a firearm to I don't know if my kid's in that room, so I might have to go hands until or with a hand weapon until I can transition to a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
My pistol, my weapon of choice is definitely a handgun.
Yeah.
For a close
Yeah.
quarter, I can tuck it. I can fight with you while I'm holding it. I can
Yep.
club you with it if I need to. Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, I would have now as far, I have my dad's K bar and my VP9 that pretty much go everywhere with me, if not the K bar or switchblade, which is legal in Texas, by the way. Mike, don't be jealous. Um,
Very jealous.
uh, that's usually my go-tos. So yeah, it depends on the situation, but given the choice, that the handgun would probably be my weapon of choice first, and then escalate up or down as I need to.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, because I downsized from a 2-story to a 1-story, um, it's pretty easy for me now. My weapon of choice also is a handgun first, but as I'm escalating, I have a nice short shotgun that is close at hand, and if it's more than two or three, then I can go to a AR pistol, and from that point on, it's going to get serious. But yeah, and that's the whole thing, folks. There's a lot of people that don't believe in using a handgun or a gun, period. And that's their choice. That's the great thing about America. Everybody has choices, and everybody has rights. We have a right to own a firearm. So if you have a firearm, um, you know the weapon, get a weapon that's comfortable, that you feel comfortable using, and train. And that takes us right into our next topic, train and train some more. So if you have a weapon and someone intrudes into your house, what are some things that you can do to train to give yourself a much better advantage when you have an intruder come into your house or on your property? And I'll open that up to anybody.
Well, I train using all three of my weapons on how I can maneuver throughout the house and bend the corners and what areas that I can go into that they won't notice me, but I notice them from all angles.
Mhm.
So, all well, it's more than three doors going outside, but I can I
Right.
can I can take care of all those. But we do practice and train that throughout the house. And as far as where the kids would go, if something do occur, their location and our code words as well.
Excellent. That's good that you mentioned that, Tarsha, and we'll get into that a little bit in detail later on. Gentlemen,
I'm with Tarsha. She's the professional, man. I practice going through the house, both with the flashlight and the handgun.
mhm,
Um, my shotguns are just too big to try and maneuver through here. I got some narrow doorways and stuff, so
right.
it's a little tough. But I can definitely clear the house. The
Mhm.
kids know where to go. If I'm yelling, get safe, get safe, they know where to go, so that I have some sort of clean line of sight, clean line of fire, and I'm not worried about penetrating another wall or anything like that.
Right.
But hey, man, I'm always going to go with the pro. It's something that we all need training on, and we need to practice. Absolutely have to practice this because it's a perishable skill, and
Yeah.
it relies on muscle memory. So it's something that you're going to have to do and do and do. And if it freaks your family out, do it when they're not home. Do it when they're not home.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if you have pets, man, know how they're going to act, because Pete's fur missiles are coming for you. They're coming for you. So he's going to have to contend with that too.
I might
Um,
find the guy unconscious on the floor because he hit his head on the refrigerator because they knocked him over with the ankles.
That's good first line of defense, Pete.
Yeah.
But I wanted to add one thing. When you're training at
Mhm.
home, please make sure your guns are clear.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
What she
Most
said.
definitely.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
she said.
When it comes to training, also, like I've said this before, when I travel, because sometimes I'm in, steel toes, blue jeans, and a hoodie or whatever in the field, and then I
Mhm.
transition to a suit, depending on, oh, I have a corporate meeting. So I actually have two that I carry, a subcompact and then a full size.
Okay.
Make sure if you have more than one platform, you take the time to train with both. And that includes not just clearing the house, but mag swaps and also drawing from different types of holsters. If I'm in a suit, I'm going to use a paddle holster so I don't have to undo all my clothes.
Right.
I'm in blue jeans. I might use a paddle. I might use, threaded through the belt.
Read it. Yeah.
So make sure you know how your holsters react. I actually bought one, went to the range, I was training with it, and it hung up as I was trying to draw.
Yeah.
And I had to get used to the fact that I had to pull it out a certain way. Needless to say, I'm not using that holster as much anymore. But, you don't want to find that out, in an emergency, whether you're in the house, getting out of the bedroom, and now you can't get the firearm out of wherever you have it because it's stuck in a holster.
Right.
Exactly. And that's the same way I am. I'm like you, Pete. Sometimes I'm out and about and just have on, jeans and a suit jacket and a sweater or whatever. And when I do that, I wear a shoulder holster. So I literally now am cross drawing. So I had to train on that so that, I can get it out and have a smooth transition. And that's what I've been working on and getting used to carrying, with a shoulder holster. And like you said, changing magazines, folks. One thing that I've seen in my security guys on detail, I see this. We do training, and you see a lot of them. When you drop your magazine, they'll drop it in their hand, and I'm like, really? Why are you dropping that in your hand? Drop the magazine and put the other one in. The other one should be in your hand. Don't worry about the magazine hitting the floor. It's a magazine. So that's one less thing you have to worry about. If you're swapping mags, you hit the button, let it drop, put the other one in, rack it, and off you go. So yeah, that's one of the things, training folks. Also, when I moved into my new house, the first thing I did the first week I was in here was walking through the house at night with no lights on, and becoming familiar. Plus, being out here in a rural area, I had no clue what's out here, what's going on. So I always had my weapon on me. So I'm walking through the house at 1 o'clock in the morning. You hear something, until you figure out that, what the sounds and noises are, and you're comfortable with it. I'm walking through the house, clearing, going through corners, seeing where blind spots are, areas where I know I can stand and watch different directions and see who could be coming from that way, but they can't see me, but I can see them. I actually have a kill zone that is just, movie-esque. And I even trained, with my Mossberg. I have a Mossberg Shockwave. It's a 14-inch 12 gauge. So you can clear rooms and come around corners very nice and quick, tight and hide, and they don't see the barrel before you get there. And, when I got one of my ARs, my AR pistol, I did the same thing, making sure I can clear rooms. Because like you, Mike, my house is older and I have narrow hallways and narrow doors. So I'm making sure I can get through them without being seen before you get there. So folks, so those are some of the things. If you guys have questions in the chat, do me a favor and do a QQQ and put your question in capital letters. And my wonderful mods will either let me know or say something 2 and 3 and 4 times, because I'm not really paying attention to a lot of the comments going on in chat, but we'll get there. So with that, now let's talk about what are some things that you can plan with your family. Some of the things, putting together a plan. If there's an intruder, you have a family in the house. What are some of the things you do or can do or suggest? And this time we'll start with Mike.
So like I was saying earlier, man, I've got the magic safe word, like Tarsha suggested. And everybody's just going to the designated location. It's something that we've talked about, and I know that they're there, and they're going to reply to me when they get there loudly.
Awesome.
So that I know that they're there, and then it's on like Donkey Kong, man.
Yeah.
Dogs. If you have dogs, they are going to be your biggest first alert, and they are to be called if they hear, if everything stops. The kids are to take care of the dogs. That's their gig. One will go to each of them. In theory, not exactly in practice, because we've tried it. And we got to the point of them keeping some extra cookies in their closet in a little jar so that they can actually get them to come to them when the time comes. But it's a lot of planning, man. It's a lot of planning. It's a lot of running through it in your head. Practice, guys.
Yeah. That's the key. Practice.
And I like what Mike said. That gives me an idea to do the same when it comes to the dog treats, because I'm getting my first German Shepherd in maybe like 2 weeks. So I'm gonna do that in the safe place. I'm taking some animal.
Put them in glass jars, because the first ones, the mice found them. So
yeah.
Okay.
Then I had to deal with that too. So
Great idea.
Yeah.
But I'll go ahead on and go. The same what Mike was saying about training at home. My kids, I train them at the range as well. So we be in the house doing different techniques with the firearms. So my kids be prepared. So I do have others in the home that can help defend as well. So One other thing that we do is like count how many steps it is if we're in the complete darkness on where the dining room table is, where the sofas are. And plus our floor plan is pretty open, so I don't have too much of a tight space at all.
Okay.
The only tight space would be in a little iffy is going upstairs, but other than that, it's pretty open. So we can maneuver pretty well in here.
Mm-hmm. Good, 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 good.
Well, when I had the kids at home, we had 2 stories, and it was a single stairwell to upstairs. And obviously, when they were younger, we had this massive German Shepherd uh, lab mix. It was 100-pound goofball named Harley, but man, he would get ugly if he didn't like somebody in the house. He lived upstairs with my oldest boy. I
Mm-hmm.
basically told the kids, y'all barricade the stairwell and throw things down and don't come down until I take care of business. Now I'm in a different situation when my youngest son visits. He's an Army MP. He's got a
Okay.
deployment under his belt. He's SWAT qualified.
Okay.
Last time he came over, and his wife also an MP. That's how they met, SWAT quals. So I basically, when they come over, I hand him an M9. I said, you know how to use that, and your job is to keep that hallway clear. I clear the back of the house, and the kitchen is where we cross fire. So
Mm.
anyone in the kitchen is screwed.
Wow.
So now it's different because now we'd be calling out, move, cover, reload, and
Right.
clear
Right.
to each other, as opposed to the safe words like kids go to your room, bring the dog. Now we're
Right.
coming out for business. So yeah, that would be a really bad house to break into, the 4 of us in there.
It's
Yeah,
tough.
you got that right. Yeah. And the same for me, because my kids are grown and gone, and my youngest, he knows, he handles a firearm pretty well. And after times of, calling out code words, safe words, he knows what to do and what to get. And he's waiting for me in my next command.
Mhm.
And I've always told them when they were little, they go to a particular place, and I say, you shut the door and you lock it. I said, unless you hear this code word or this particular knock on the door, you do not open this door for nothing. And that's the whole key to it, folks. You got to have a plan, and practice it with the whole family. Go through it, walk through it, and you don't have to pull out a firearm, but walk through it and say, this is what you do, this is where you go, and this is how you react upon that. And it's all like Hudson said earlier, it's all muscle memory. So you have to keep practicing, so that if in the event something happens, nobody starts panicking, because it's now muscle memory and you know what to do. Okay,
Yep.
so with that, our next topic, what are some things that we can do to the exterior of the house to monitor, to make it safe? Because we're in the internet technology age. There's tons of things out there. What do you recommend? What do you use? Or what could somebody do?
I use perimeter alerts. Sorry, Mike.
Oh, all good. All good.
Gotta raise my hand. But I use perimeter alerts that lets me know someone has crossed my threshold of comfort, especially when you're not even supposed to be there. Security cameras that picks up motion, people, packages. It picks up noise, the sound, anything, so I can hear people talking outside. I can talk back to them if I want to curse them out and tell them, if you don't get away, I'm gonna fry you up. But I have floodlights, motion detection lights, and I use a lot of solar lights, which stays dim when it gets dark. But if someone approaches it, it brightens up. I have that on all the windows, even upstairs. The the sound detection that lets me know that someone has tried either pried my windows open or not. I have security bolts on my doors as well, and we keep everything locked in the garage as well, and keep the hedges trimmed because you don't want no bushy house covering up all your windows.
Right.
Um, we do keep big boots. My son, he has size 13 foot. He's 18 years old, but he's over 6 feet one or whatnot. But we have his boots out there as well. So it's a lot of things. And the ADT security system signs, some people are, it doesn't scare them because, people think, oh, they just put that up there. But we make sure that everything is secure here, lights on trees to alert me that someone has been walking on the property, lights on the fence out back, lights on my raised garden bed. So everything will light up like a Christmas tree if you come here.
That's good. Very good. And believe it or not, lighting is an amazing deterrent, because those that want to do something bad, they want to do it in the darkness. And if you have lights, along with everything else, that's going to be an extra deterrent. Like coming into my lane, I literally have 4 street lights that go down my driveway that lights up the whole front of the property. I have driveway alarms. So as soon as you turn into the property, I know you're there. And I have other stuff hidden that I can look, that gives me an amazing 360-degree view of my whole property. Mm-hmm. And, those are the things outside. Tarsha, when you were talking about hedges, most people, they put mulch up around in their flower beds and all that. I have stones. So if somebody's walking, to try to see if a window's open or open the window, you can hear that inside the house. So I replaced it was already here. I have stone that literally goes all the way around the house. Yeah. So those are some of the things, and there's other things I have outside I'm not going to talk about because of OPSEC. So, yeah, gentlemen.
Well, as far as out here, I have more limited space since I'm not in a big property anymore, at least until the company decides I need to reload again. I not only have my lights set on a solar timer. So in other words, I leave my front lights on during the day. They shut off because the sun came out, but they're on the grid. Now, obviously, if they kill my power, there's a blackout. I also have solar powered lights and solar powered ring cameras all over. So they'll still turn on with any motion. It's funny because we had a blackout after the big blackout. We had a little one out in my part of the world. And we were off grid for about 24 hours. And we went to bed and I said, man, where's that light coming from? Are the cops out or what? It was my solar lights. And I was the only one in the block. So my little house was lit up like a Christmas tree. And it even more pronounced way because everyone else was dark.
Right.
But yeah, the solar lights come in handy, and they're dual purpose because if there's a blackout, you can grab one and bring it inside so you don't kill yourself on your dog or tripping over the kids' Legos. But out here, I have some very unpleasant, very pretty, but unpleasant West Texas shrubbery that have thorns that are about 1.25 inches long, and they will perforate the heck out of you. And then they'll probably infect after they poke you. So not pleasant. And so, if you want to come through the front windows, have fun with that. I'll pick you up off the floor as you're sitting there crying, pulling the quills out. One point that I've seen people not do, and I actually was guilty of this, and they tried to kick in my door when I lived in Houston, in the back of the house, lock your back gate. Don't just close it and assume, oh, people see a closed gate, because they're going to try the gate. And if they can get behind your house where the public can't see them, they're going to do mischief. So I roll a lock through the gate. If I have, a yard guy or, a contractor coming in to do work, I'll pop the lock off beforehand. but that
Right.
gate's locked because I don't want to open the door in the morning, let the dogs out, and someone comes in on me that I didn't know was there.
Exactly.
The
So you
dog,
have
go
you
ahead.
have a physical lock on the
I have a
gate.
physical padlock on the gate on the inside. So, I mean,
Okay.
obviously they can jump the gate, but why
Mhm.
make it easy? And of
Exactly.
course, the dogs, I mean, they do battle with UPS and the poor Amazon guy every afternoon. You've heard them on my videos. Anything goes on within 20 yards of my house that they don't like, and
Hmm.
they're all of them go charging up and down the house, the little ridges on their back. They get long in the tooth. They think they're a lot bigger than they are, but I will know what's going on. So a good dog, even if you don't want to have a big, you can't manage a big canine, and you have
Hmm.
just some little Chihuahua or Shih Tzu or something, and that's your baby. I promise you, anything they don't like, they will go running across the house barking. And to me, that's good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike.
So I'm going to start before I get to all my stuff. The first thing that I did was I had to define my inner and outer perimeter.
Hmm.
And I took my cameras. I do have a camera system. I aim
Hmm.
those at my outer perimeter so that I get as much advance notice and I can actually see
Yeah.
what's going on before it gets to me. The
Yeah.
solar lights, guys, the solar lights are key. They're so inexpensive. You can honestly buy the cheapo ones from Walmart. And I've had a set of them for 3 or 4 years. I use them at the bug out events. I put them up in the trees
Hmm.
and we light the paths when folks are walking around. They're great. They're great. They're fantastic. And those are the trigger for my inner perimeter. So I know when those lights come on that somebody's awful close to the front of the house. Aside from that, the locks, the thorny bushes by windows is fantastic. They have up here what we call the crown of thorns bush. It doesn't look like much. They kind of turn, colors in the fall, so they look
Hmm.
pretty, but they are
Right.
nothing but razor sharp little tiny thorns. They're not like Pete's big monster ones, but we got little tiny thorns, and you're going to get thousands of them. Those are fantastic to get outside your windows if you can. Um,
Yeah.
you know, it, Everybody's kind of got the same great advice, and it's
Yeah.
fantastic to know that we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
At least I know I'm not. If we're screwing up, hey, we're all screwing up together, guys.
Together. Exactly. Exactly. So we got a question here. We got a question here from Outlaw Jackson. Medical kits, build your own or buy? He said, I never trust someone else's building a kit. I'm gonna
So
let y'all answer that because I'm biased.
I have built kits and I have bought kits. Um, and I've honestly found that if you buy one, it's not really going to cover all of the bases that you need per se. So
Mm-hmm.
I end up buying one and then modifying it
Yeah.
to fit my
Mm-hmm.
exact needs.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a lot of homemade ones, man, a lot of them. And I lived and I learned. And thankfully, I didn't have to use crummy equipment on anybody. And I didn't, nothing failed. And it was all, out in the wash, so to speak. So I say yes, both, actually, both.
Yeah.
Build it, buy it. Um, get all the equipment you can, guys. Get it all.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's how I am. Um, my first kit I bought and I went through it and I was like, well, I don't need this and I don't need that and I don't need this and I don't need that. And then I start putting stuff in. And then I had this great epiphany. You know what? Why don't you make them and sell them? That'd be pretty good.
Mhm.
So I start designing my own kit with the help of my great friend Chester Seal, and we came up with the VFAC and the
Awesome.
VFAC Mini. So, but you're absolutely right, Mike. Both buy them
Yep.
and build your own. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think a single one I have anymore is store bought per se,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
one of them had a really bougie little case. And I'm like, I like that case. So I bought it and then I opened it and went, this has band-aids. This is stupid. So I wound up adding more to it. Then the bag finally annoyed me, so I moved it somewhere else. So I have pre-packaged first aid kits that are
Mhm.
stacked. I have three of them, and two of the three have a tourniquet attached. And that's for my travel because some of them I know this one's TSA compliant and this one's not. And if I take that one, I'm going to have to talk with that guy behind the counter, um, which I have had happen. I've lost a couple of good knives because I didn't check my bags. But I'll use the commercial one as a starter kit because it has a lot of the basic dumb things like the basics, but then I always wind up adding more and basically I build my own in their little pouch or bag or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's how I am, and especially with the kit, the VFAC that I carry in my truck, I have multiples and triples of everything in there, just in case I happen to come across a major car accident and EMS is not there yet. I can get out and administer first aid to multiple people. You know, Tarsha was telling me a story of an accident she came upon, and her and her family deployed all of this gear and was helping all these people before EMS even got there.
Yep.
And I was like, that's good.
That has actually happened to me too. I rolled up on a car accident and there was a guy against a lamppost. He had exited the vehicle and I guess he had hit the windshield on the
Mm-hmm.
side, so he had glass in his face. He was a mess. And I had the gloves, I had the face shield, I put the goggles on, and I was trying to assist him when PD rolled up and they asked me if I was an EMT, and I'm like, no, but he looked like he really needed help. I wasn't going to drive by. But yeah, and you got to make sure in your kit you have something not only to heal yourself, but to protect you if you're helping a third party because you don't know what cootie someone else has. Not being ugly,
Absolutely.
but they could have any kind of disease and you have a cut on your hand and now you have it.
Yeah, especially if you have a cut on your hand, first thing you need to do is put on gloves. You have to. And if you buy a kit and it doesn't have a set of gloves in it, send it back immediately. Get your money back and build your own. My mother Sparks asked a question: what's in my medical kit? I'm not going to go into details, but I did some videos on what's in my personal kit. And back here, we have a couple that some of my friends will be getting in the mail, but our VFAC kits, everything's in it. Everything for trauma. It's not a boo-boo kit. It is a life-saving kit that allows you to save somebody's life. And the life could be your own or family member or a stranger. So with that, let's move on to our next topic. Then we'll come back to some questions. So we're talking about the exterior. We talked about, light it up. That, it's great to have lighting, and it's cheap, folks. It won't break the bank. And with technology, there's some amazing solar lights out there. Tarsha was talking about, she has lights, motion lights that as you get closer to it, they get brighter. I'm still on the hunt trying to find some of those because that's what I'm talking about, and I have a plan that I'm doing because I have woods in the back of my house and I want to go deep into it and be able to light it up. So I had my electrician sign an NDA and I showed him my plan. And I told him, I said, if this gets out to anybody, I will hunt you down. And he laughed. He said, you're good. So with that, we talked about the exterior, the interior. What are some other things that people can do to fortify their house and their property outside? And then we'll open it up to questions. Anybody can take this topic.
I like the signage idea. I have a minefield sign out in my lawn. It's really for the dogs, because you're walking in kind of doggy landmines.
Right.
But it makes people think.
Yeah.
I have another one. My wife hasn't let me put it out. It says, "I'm a bitter gun owner clinging to my religion," and it's got some bullet holes in it. But I haven't been allowed to put that one out front yet.
Wow.
But yeah, man, it's, keep signage out front. Like Tarsha said, that the ADT signs, the security emblems out front, the big stake in the front yard. It's a deterrent for a lot of people who don't want the hassle. They just want something they can sneak in and sneak out. They don't want the bells, the whistles, the alarms, the lights going off. So
Right.
make yourself a hard target. It's really simple to harden your doors in your home with some extra long screws. You take those little tiny ones that they give you out and put some real screws in there. Make sure your catch plates are good and tight so that you can't rattle the door open. There's a lot of simple things that folks can do. Just research.
Yeah. Yeah. Replace all the door hinges in the doors, front door, rear door, garage doors with 3-inch screws. Right, Mike?
Yep.
Absolutely. Those are some of the little things.
Oh, well, I can answer Steven's question pretty easy.
Go right
I
ahead.
have an awesome trainer. His name is Travis the Medic. Well, it's not Travis the Medic, but we call him Travis the Medic. And he works for strategicetc.com. And if you are in the Eastern Seaboard and you need medical training, www.strategicetc.com. He will come and help you out. He charges for his courses. They all come with certifications, and the certifications cost a fortune. But he is willing to work with you and your people to help get you the medical training that you need. If you don't need the piece of paper that says I'm certified for work or anything like that, he will work with you, and most cases he can bring that price down even lower. So get quality medical training, guys. You got to have it. You absolutely got to have it.
And to add to what Mike's saying, if you're not where you can get someone like that, aside from the Red Cross, the YMCA's, a lot of local fire departments will put on a class if you have a group, a church group or something. Also workplaces. So my company is an OSHA regulated because of what we do.
Okay.
They make available stop the bleed, bloodborne pathogens, biological. As a matter of fact, it's gone so far, explosives handling, radiation policy. I mean, so check if you're working for a larger company or one that's OSHA regulated, check with them, because to remain in compliance, they may have to do those classes in-house to do certain types of work so they don't get dinged by the feds or the state. So yeah, a private class is better because it's one-on-one, like the guy Mike was mentioning. But if you're on a budget, talk to work. There's
Absolutely.
some companies will actually get a insurance break if they do, annual or semi-annual training for
Emergency training,
first aid, defibrillators, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. And that's one thing here's my shameless plug for our bug out weekend, May 26th through the 28th. We're actually, I'm talking with local EMS to actually come in and do a stop the bleed course.
Fantastic.
On Saturday. So I just need to call this guy back and then give him a ballpark number of people, and we'll go from there. But we definitely want to do a stop the bleed class for everybody that's there. So, plus us here at Vision Preparedness, we're bringing an online platform together that's going to have some awesome classes that are going to be between $5 and $25 a class. And it's going to be awesome. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But yeah, folks, get as much medical training as you can, period. Especially if you have firearms in your house, you need to have first aid kits in case you need to patch up not only yourself, but family members. And I have no problem trying to save the guy's life that broke into my house and I just hit him with a 12-gauge slug. I got no problem trying to save his life, and they can cart him off and do whatever they want. But, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So what else are good home defense plans that are not budget breaking that anybody can think of that we haven't talked about? We got about 2 minutes, then we'll open this up to major questions and go from there.
I want to touch on what Mike said earlier.
Mhm.
Upgrading your locks, because you buy a new build, you're going to get builder grade stuff.
Mhm.
And you're a contractor, so you know what I'm talking about. And I've reloaded
Yep.
like 9 times. So you get those houses. The first thing I do, you go into a new house, you reload. I change all the locks and I rekey them. Make sure
Yep.
you have a deadbolt on the front and back door. Now, granted, they can break a window, reach around, get it. That's fine. But now they've broken a glass, and now they've made noise.
Mhm.
And lock the doors. We've had so many firearm thefts in Texas. When it got during the Rona, they were breaking into people and they weren't locked. You know,
Mm.
you'd see it on Facebook. Owner reports lost firearm, no visible break-in on the vehicle. Well, he left it unlocked and he left a pistol under the seat.
Oof.
That was the owner's fault. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, he breaks the window, breaks the glove box, and steals something. Then, hey, that's you did what you could reasonably. But yeah, lock the doors. Just make sure you do the basics and make sure the locks are functioning. I mean, because at the end of the day, if they pull and the doors don't open easy, now do I really want to kick in this guy's door?
Right.
Yeah, I'll add to Pete's comment about the locks.
Mm.
Anything you get from a big box store, they're all equal. They're all equal. If you want good quality locks on your house, see a locksmith.
Yes.
He will give you good quality locks because I think it's nine different key combinations that they'll send to one particular big box store. So when the 10th person buys a lock set there, he's getting the same exact keys that you use in your house. They're keyed identical. And if you search through those things, you can find all different kinds of locks that are keyed identically the same. So they do mix up the combinations here and there, but hey man, the chances are better than none that somebody may already have a key to your house.
Oof.
So see a
That's-
locksmith, man. Those are the guys that you want to talk to. They know real locks. They know things that work. They pick locks for a living. So
Correct. Yeah. That's a good thought, Mike, especially if you have a new build, those locks came from a big box store.
Yep.
So
90% of the time, like Pete said, builder grade, and they are just as junky as can be. Most of them I can open with my good old New York State driver's license.
Exactly. Any other questions in the chat? I have not been paying attention because I cannot multitask because I'm in a conversation with this awesome panel. And if anybody has any questions, please post them. And we're almost at the hour mark and go from there. Mad Shad says, get your house pen tested. You know, very much so. See what's vulnerable. I mean, we all know our vulnerable spots in our own house. And I know what I have to work on, and you know, I'm well aware of it, but what I want to do, it's a project. So
Yep.
I have to take it piece by piece, and keep that in the back of my mind that, you know, okay, this is what I have to keep a lookout for.
Yeah. I always live by the old adage that locks are for honest people.
Yes.
Don't hide things of great value behind cheap locks.
Right.
You know, and my family is the most valuable thing to me. So
Yeah.
I do have good locks on the doors, and you know, even the chain locks, the slide bolts behind the door, those are real cheap things that you can buy and add a little bit of extra security. Always beef up the screws, like we talked about earlier. Whenever you can put a bigger, heavier duty screw in something, yeah, gotta have them, man. Big screws.
Right, exactly. So somebody asked, they said, what is a pen test? Does anybody want to explain that for your house?
What the definition's odd to me with a pin.
Yeah, pen test basically is vulnerable spots in your house, whether it's windows that are unlocked, windows that are vulnerable, that could be broken in, different things like that. Mad Shad, I know you're the one who said it. If you want to give some more details, go from there. We got a question from my mother Sparks, your sister from another mother. What's the most important thing to have in your medical kit besides gloves?
I'm gonna go with tourniquet. Tourniquet.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, but it's an opinion, not necessarily the right answer.
Tourniquet and Israeli.
Right.
There's a lot of things you want to have that would add value.
Yeah.
Yep.
I say tourniquet.
And one thing I started to do with my kids is I have a Ziploc bag with medical supplies that I put in their book bags. So I'm trying to figure out a way I can get certain things in there without it being bulky. I said I may have to vacuum seal it, but that's one thing that I'm incorporated into their book bags as well.
Shrink it down as much as you can. I love those vacuum sealers, man.
Same here. When I got mine for the first time, when I first got it, I was vacuum sealing everything. Yep. Anything I put in the bag, it got vacuum sealed.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. So with that, folks, we are definitely at the 1 hour mark. Any other questions? I appreciate you guys taking time out to join me for this panel discussion. Great topics, great suggestions. Here's what Shad said. Mad Shad said, find an ex-burglar, ask him to break in, do a walkthrough. You'll be shocked how easy it is to get in your house.
True.
Interesting. That is true. That is true.
I mean, simple tools. Even if you don't have simple tools, a butter knife from your kitchen. It's incredibly easy. It's incredibly easy.
Yeah.
You know, it really is.
Right.
And
Amen, Outlaw Jackson. And it weighs absolutely nothing. The more knowledge, the more better.
Exactly. Go ahead, Tarsha.
And one thing that I'd be trying to tell people as well when I do train them that it's not just one person coming to your home. It's a group of people these days. It's not like back in the days. It's just, just one person break into a house. It's multiple people at one time. So be prepared.
Right.
For a crowd. And then another thing I just learned is the garage door. I didn't know there's a latch inside your garage door. Somebody mentioned on another live that you can do to secure your garage door to keep people from pulling that up. So I went and figured that out. So I'm thankful for that.
Shorten the rope, shorten the emergency pull rope, or move it up around, because literally you can take a coat hanger and maneuver it up in there, and it'll and you can find the pull cord and pull on it, and it unlocks the garage door.
Also, lock the door that goes from your garage if it's attached, the garage to your house. I always lock that door. Granted, it's an interior lock.
Yeah.
But they're gonna have to keep the door open, and my dogs will freak. And again, when they freak, I'm up.
Right. Anybody have any comment on this? Best locks for the windows?
I would do the audible ones. Anything that you can hear. Tarsha has some audible alarms for her windows. Maybe she could let you know what she's got going on.
Mine is through my security system, ADT, so they put them all on the windows. But I just thought about when I was talking about the garage door that I don't have those in the garage, so I need to call them up and have them add those on the 3 windows that's in the garage. And secure them a different way as well. Like Bougie Prepper had mentioned about using a stick or rods in windows, and those would be some good places I can put those as well.
Yeah, I put those in my sliding glass doors. There's a rod and it has 2 locks on it. Outlaw Jackson, the senator from Ohio cannot confirm nor deny that I've done that before. There you go. There's your answer. But yes, bars on
to break
sliding
into my
doors.
own car repeatedly.
Yeah, oh yeah, I had to do that to my son. So after one of their football games, and this is how kids are, and this is mine. God love him to death, greatest kid on the planet. Locked the keys in his car, and the car was running.
Mm.
I don't know how he did it. Don't know how he did it, but I got there, pulled out a coat hanger, and then he remembers, oh, I have an extra key at home, Dad. I said, okay. Told his friend, take him home. By the time y'all get back, I'll have the car unlocked. And by the time they got back, I'm sitting there in the driver's seat, door open, heat going. I said, yeah, here you go, son. Yeah. Totally amazing. But guys, I want to, we got a comment here. High impact windows aren't cheap, but they're worth it, especially when you get to watch the perv bounce things off the window. Yeah.
And if you can't do the impact windows, you can do that impact film that goes over the windows they use in hurricane country. It's not as good, but it really makes it difficult to break in.
Right, exactly. With that, guys, ladies, I want to thank you guys very much for participating in this. I hope this was helpful to those in the chat. Always keep a coat hanger in your car because it definitely works for just about anything. If you guys will hang out here for a minute, and folks, just want to say, keep prepping because your family depends on you and it depends on your life. Everybody have a great evening. God bless. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon. Vision prepared.